Yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, hello everyone. Hello everyone, you're welcome. Yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, hello everyone. Alright, everyone, you're welcome once again to day one of the Data Analytics Bootcamp 1.0. We are starting with Excel data analytics or data analytics using Excel. As today is the first day of our data analytics, it's actually an introduction, but we are going to cover quite a number of things that we do using Excel that we continue tomorrow with also Excel. We are going to look at some of the Excel terminologies and then look at some functions and also try to experience with data, sample data to clean data, practice how to clean data and messy data when we are doing data analysis. We also do some exploratory data analysis. The sample data set we are using and then the workbook we will be using for this tutorial is in the description. You can just click on the link to download it in the description. If you have any question, you can leave it in the description or the chat in the chat. I'll be attending to them from time to time. This class is quite loaded, so if you have any question, you can. This class is quite loaded, so be expecting a lot of goodies from this class. As the first day, since it's just 2 weeks for us to cover a lot of things, we will be doing a lot together. So pardon me if it takes a lot of times or it takes much of your time. But one thing that I want to psych your minds all on is that as a data analyst or as data analyst enthusiast or data scientist enthusiast, you have to be determined to learn. You have to always be ready to learn new things, because the field is such that you would have to constantly learn. Constantly, you have to learn new things. I'll try and then I'll also link the sample data we are using in the chat so that you can have access to it. So you have to prepare your mind mentally to learn a lot of things and be ready to learn, because the field is such that it's evolving. So new things are coming day in, day out. Every day new things are coming. So once that you have made up your mind to learn or to be a data analyst or data scientist, you have to know that you have a responsibility, and that responsibility is that every day you have to be prepared to learn new things. Every now and then you have to make your mind that you are going to learn something new, because each and every day new things are coming. And particularly if you want to be a data scientist, then be prepared to learn a lot of things, especially when you get to the machine learning and artificial intelligence. All those fields are fields that are constantly developing. They are constantly developing. So every day, every now and then, new techniques are coming. And all those new techniques, as a data scientist, you must learn them and you must read about them to improve your skills, to improve your way of analysis. There is also one thing that you also have to note, and that is the field. One that you made up your mind that you are going to learn, you don't have to be scared. You just have to be prepared. You don't also have to know everything before you become a data scientist or a data analyst. The field is such that as you progress, you keep on learning. As you progress, you keep on learning. So you have to know how to do research, to research about new techniques, to research about new methods, to research about new ways of doing things, new ways of analyzing data, new ways of building machine learning models, so that you can constantly improve your way of doing. And when you are in the process and you failed, don't give up, because the field is such that you fail and then you learn. When you fail, don't leave it, or don't say that you can't continue, but rather when you fail, you have to make up your mind that when you fail, you come back again and restart. So that is a little about the field. It's such that it demands a lot of work, and that is constantly, you have to be constant practicing. You have to always be ready to learn new things. You have to also be willing to do research, and to be ready to follow others and stuff. As you are beginning, there is always going to be a lot of pressure, because when you look at how people new, especially this particular one, there will be a lot of pressure, because there are some people, they are intermediate, there are some, they are now beginning, some are already professionals. But know your lane. In the field of athletics, everybody know their lane, and when you know your lane, you know how to run your race. So that is a bit of encouragement that I want to give you. Know your lane. Once you are doing it, and know how the space that you can go, how you can run your race, and when you know all this, you will be able to move on. Trust me, it will take time, but then as you continue, as you constantly practice, as you read, and as you practice, the more you practice, the more better you become. There are some techniques, it won't take you just a day to master them, but as you constantly practice, you would be able to overcome them. There are also some techniques, you just look at it today and then you'll be okay with it and become part of you. But don't forget, when you practice, the more you practice, the more you become familiar with those techniques. If you just do it today and then you leave it, it becomes very difficult, or you may forget the next day or the next morning. So that is a bit about the field. That is a bit about the data analytics, or what you are supposed to, you have to take in mind. The next one is the field is such that when you want to see how people are moving, you won't progress, because you will be scared and you can't move on. Just put it down. Today you have taken a big step to be a data analyst, or to learn data analysis. Now, a year to come or 6 months to come, ask yourself, will you be at the same level, or you move on? Definitely you have to move on. So that is how the field is. So now let's begin. As you are here, let's begin, or let's dive deep into why we are here today. So today, as I said earlier on, we are focusing on Excel for data analysis. And the first thing that we'll be looking at is we want to look at some of the functions that we normally use in Excel, functions that we use to do analysis. We use in our day in, day out analysis. Excel has tons of functions. We have thousands of functions that we use in Excel, but it's not all of them that you have to know as a data analyst or data scientist. There are some simply that you don't have to know them. You can just ignore them, and there are some you use them once a while. Similarly, there are also certain things that when you master as a you master in Excel, it will help you a lot, because you'll be able to do so much with them. Everywhere you go, you'll be able to do much with them. So today we'll be looking at some of these functions, and then we will try to cover some exploratory data analysis, that's EDA. We'll look at some techniques in cleaning data. When we have a messy data, how do we approach them? How do we clean all of them? How do we remove missing values? And then when we are able to get all these things, possibly as we move on, we would take a case study to analyze a case or business data. We analyze the data, look at the data, clean data, analyze them, and then probably finally we would come out with an interactive dashboard to present our finding. We also look at how to report our findings at the end of the day, but that we're going to look at into after we finish the development of our dashboard, and that will be tomorrow. So today we are looking at we'll be looking at the functions overall, the function that we have to master as a data analyst or as a data scientist. And then gradually, as we progress, we would also look at some other things, and then possibly tomorrow we will look at a case study where we do a real analysis from beginning to an end, and then we will come out with also an interactive dashboard. The session is going to be long, so at a point we would have a short break, or yes, at a point we are going to have a short break, and then we will drink water, and then we will come and continue again. We are looking at possibly 2 hours to 3 hours, or 2 hours 30 minutes, so between 2 hours to 3 hours. So without wasting much time, let's begin. Now, we say Excel is a powerful tool for data analysis. It enables users to clean, transform, and analyze data with ease. In fact, with all the tools that we've listed, or with all the tools that we want to use, Excel is one of the easiest one that a lot of people use. And if you are someone who knows how to use Excel very well, most of the cases you will want to use it, because it's one of the easiest way to analyze data. In this bootcamp, we will cover Excel's key functions, data importation techniques, exploratory data analysis, and how to create dashboard for reporting. We are also going to look at how to report our findings at the end of our analysis. Now let's look at some of the terminologies in Excel. We have workbook, and then with workbook we say that it's a file that contains one or more worksheets. Now when you open Excel, the whole of the Excel that you open is a workbook together, and then you realize that you have sheets one by one. It's either sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 2, and you can rename all of them. When you combine all of them together, we have an Excel workbook. Now when you take an Excel worksheet, it's a single page of the Excel workbook. Now the whole of the workbook that you have, it contains sheets. So an Excel worksheet is just only one or a single page where you have your data, or you have your files, or you have whatever you have there, and then the remaining all combined together give us a workbook. And then we have a cell. A cell is a single rectangular box on a worksheet where data can be entered. We have range. A range is a group of 2 or more adjacent cells in a worksheet. And then we also have a formula. We have function, and we are going to look at all of them. We have charts. All these things, when you know them as a data analyst, we are going to, the charts and your pivot tables are very functional that you have to master as a data analyst, because you are going to use most of them in your reporting. You are going to use, for example, all your charts that you are going to visualize, all your visualization, a chart you are going to create. When you combine all of them together, that is going to give you a dashboard. And when you are able to give them good formatting, they present a very interactive dashboard for you. For pivot table, they are very powerful tools in Excel that we can use to summarize our data and present findings in a simple way. For example, it's a quick way to analyze your data and to know some of the things that you have to look at. It's very helpful when you are doing exploratory data analysis, such that you will be able to know the summary of your data, and then that will give you an idea of what you are supposed to do next, an informed decision. So it's part of an exploratory data analysis that you use so that you can be able to know how to present your finding. Now let's open our workbook, and then let's look at some of them. As I said earlier on, the link to this file is in the description, and it's also in the chat. So you can just you can download it, and then you follow along. And we are going to look at some of these functions and practice them as well. Okay, so this is just a sample data that we have here. So you can kindly download it as we all practice along. As I said earlier on, the more you practice, the more you become okay, and the more you become master of it. So this is a fictional data where we have our company, and then we are looking at this is a fictional data where we are looking at so as I said earlier on, so the whole of all this becomes a workbook. So if you see how I save it, Excel Data Analytics Workbook. So the whole of this become a workbook because we have different Excel sheets, and this is sheet 1, which is just one page 2, page 3. And if you want to create any page, once you click on this one, it gives you a new sheet, and then you can rename it. And if you want to rename it, you just double click it, and then and you choose rename. When you right click, then you just choose rename, and then you can rename into anything. My new sheet. That's all. And when you want to change the color of it, just as the way that I've changed the color, the same thing, just right click it, and then you choose tab color, and then you can choose any color that you want, any color that you think is good for you. Once you choose that, that becomes your color. And if you don't want it and you think that you are not going to use that again, right click it, then you just click on delete, and then it's off. Now that is how we create an Excel sheet, a new sheet, or an Excel page. So without wasting much time, let's look at this particular. Let's start with our functions. The first thing that we want to look at is that we want to look at the sum function. Here, the sum function, it's a function that it adds values in a range. If you have range, for example, we have salaries here. So this particular company, we have a company with their staff members. We have the staff with their staff ID, the first name of the staffs, the last name of the staff, the age, the gender, their title, the job title. We have their salary, the start date, and then the end date. So we want to look at the sum function, and the sum functions, we can use it to add their salaries. So if we want to check their total salary, or we want to look at the total salary, all that we need to do is, when we come to the sum, we just equals, then sum. Once that you start typing it, it will appear. We have the sum functions, you see all the sum functions over there. So here, I'm not done typing, but once it appears, I can just move to it and then hit on the tab key, and then it will automatically. So it's asking me for the first number and then the second number. The second number is optional, but when you pick the first number, for example, I want to sum up the salary over here, and this is in cell G2. So all that I need to do right now is just to click on this. Once I click on it, I can put comma there, and it will give me the second number, comma, and once I choose the next one, I give it comma, it gives me another number. It gives me to add. Better say, if I'm okay with only the two, I can just click the comma and then close it. And once I hit enter, it's going to give me, I think this place has been formatted as, it has actually been formatted as, what do you call it? It has been formatted as date function. Yes. So just choose general. That particular cell has been formatted as date function. So let me format all of them as general. Good. So because it has been formatted as the date function, you could see that when you do the addition, when you sum up, it's giving you dates rather than giving you a value, which is the sum of the salaries that we want. So right now, it's now it's no more in a what do you call it, a date function mode. It's rather in the general mode. So you change it from date to general. Okay. Now, I click on it, you can see that from the formula tab, I'm having the formula over here. It's giving me the formula, which is the sum that I type. The sum is equal to G2 and G5. Now, what if I want to add a range? When I'm talking about a range, what if I'm not interested in only two, or I'm not interested in a continuous one? For example, from the whole of this one. If I'm interested in from G2 to G9. What if I'm interested in the summation of all this? All that I need to do is that instead of me using comma, I'll use the colon. So I can retype it equal to sum. Then I'll open my bracket. Then I can type G2 colon. Then I'll go to, I want to sum it up to G6, and then close it. As soon as I close it, you realize that because I'm using colon, it's actually giving me, selecting all the range that I'm interested in. And once I hit enter, it sums all of them together for me. Okay, just ignore. So it's giving me the sum of all this from the G2, where from G2 to G6. Similarly, I can add all of them together, and in doing so, all that I need to do is, instead of me specifying G6, I'll rather specify it up to the G15, which is the last one. So clean this and put 15 there, hit enter. So that's the total salary from the first person, which is John Wilson, to Jude Freer. Now, when we come to sum if also work in a similar manner, but in this case, we are looking at giving a particular condition. So let's just give it a try. Let's say sum if. Now, when you highlight it, when you just type it, you realize it says that add the cells specified by a given condition. So here we want to add based on particular condition. Okay, based on a particular condition. That is what we are trying to do over here. So, for example, and this is good when you are using, maybe you are accumulating marks for students, and then you want to only add marks that are greater than the pass mark. For example, if the pass mark is 70, so you are looking at only students, you want to add only the marks of students that are greater than the pass mark, which is 70. So you just use the sum this if it is greater than this. So sum if, then you open your parenthesis. You want to add the salaries. So I'll just highlight all of them, and then I'll put comma there, and then I'll give the criteria. That is the condition that I want to use. And with this condition, I want to say that if we should add it if the salary is greater than, let's say, 50,000. Okay, so here before I'll put the condition, I'll put it in quotes, and then I'll say greater than, so 50,000. 50,000, and then I'll close the quotes and then close the bracket. Now you can see it in the formula bar that is saying sum if this particular range that you selected, if they are greater than 50,000. So any salary that is below 50,000 is not included, is excluded. So once you hit enter, this cell is also formatted as date function. So let's go to page and then change it to general. Good. So here too, you realize that we are having only salaries that are actually greater than 5,000. So you can see the difference that in this case here we sum everything, but here it has significantly reduced. It has reduced not up to the total salary. So when you look at the salaries that are greater than 5,000, 50,000, you could see this one. You could see this one. You can also see this one. We are looking at greater than, not greater than or equal to. So when you are 50,000, you are not included. Yes. So you could see only 3. So you can see only 3 salaries that are actually greater than 50,000. That is 6,500. Sorry, 65,000. And then we have 55,000. And we also have another 55,000. So those are the salaries that are greater than. Those are the salaries that are greater than the 50,000, 50,000 that we specified. So that is how we use the sum if functions. And then the sum if function, the sum ifs function also is similar, but in this case you can specify multiple conditions. In this case, we can specify multiple conditions. Let me change all these cells. Let me format it to the general. Good. So here in this case here we are having we want to specify many conditions. Okay, so let's say that it's equal to sum ifs. Okay, sum ifs, and then we also want to sum up the salary. Okay, and then comma. Then we want to give, here we are looking at, we've selected our sum range where we want to sum. The next thing that we need to do is we need to select the range that we are going to pick our condition from. Okay, the range that we are going to pick our condition from. So we give comma, then I want to select the gender, the gender, that is the range. I want to choose this range. This is where I want to pick my condition from. And then you give comma. As soon as you give comma, it's asking for the condition for the first condition. It means that you can give multiple conditions. Okay, so first of all, let me give first condition, and the first condition is that I want to add only if they are male. Okay, so I will put my, and then I'll type my male. Okay, then I'll close it. Once I hit enter, it has add only salary of male workers. So you can see that it's not adding any female. Okay, now let's also do same for female, and then we will look at the total of the two of them and see if you are going to get this. So let's also do the same thing, but in this case let's give the condition that we want to add for only female. So we have equal to sum ifs, and then this is what we want to add from this up to this, comma, then we give our range condition, then we say that female, we are looking at female workers, the total salary of female workers. Okay, so now this is also giving us this, which means that all the total, when we add the female workers over here, this is first female, second female, and then third female, fourth and fifth. If we add their salaries together, this is what you are getting, and the remaining are male. Now let's use sum to add the two of them. So let's say that we have equal to, let me push it to the next cell, equal to sum, and then put it together. Now you could see that we have the same as this. You can clearly see that the two of them are the same thing. So that is how we use the sum if and the sum ifs. All of them are very good whatever you are doing. In the case of the sum ifs, it means that you can give multiple conditions, but in our case we give only one condition. Let's try a case where we will give multiple conditions. Let's see if we can give a multiple conditions. It's just the same thing. We give the first condition, the range for the first conditions, and then when you give the range for the second condition as well. So let's say sum ifs, then we have the range, and then we select their range. We want to make it male, and then we give the conditions. So we want to add only male. So let me male, and then now we are going to give the second condition, that's the second criteria, and in this case we have their ages. So let's look at the ages, and then so this is the second criteria range, comma, and in now we want to add the salary of male workers, but we want to also make sure that the ones that we are adding, their age is greater than from 30 and above. We want to add only male workers that have a salary, male workers that their age is greater than or equal to 30. So let me open and then I'll say greater than or equal to 30. Good. I made a mistake. Yeah, a very big mistake. I didn't close this. So now I close it. Good. Where did I even add it? I think because of the mistake, I have to start all over. So you have some ifs, then this is the range, comma, and then here, comma, then you have male, then comma, then we select the age group, comma, and now we want to look at those that are greater than 30. Good. So now you can clearly see that we've now add only male workers that are above 30 years. The salary of male workers that are 30 years and that are above 30 years. That are above 30 years. If you want to add a greater or equal to, you just make it greater or equal to. That is, you just add it because you don't have greater or equal to as a normal one in Excel. So you just greater, then you add the equal to, and then it will add from 30 years and above. So this is how we use the sum function. That is all the sum function. Now the next one we want to look at is the average. Is similar. The average is also similar. With the average, we are looking at to return the arithmetic mean. That is the mean. We know we normally do the average in mathematics when we have the 3 numbers or 5 numbers. We add all of them together. For example, when we have numbers like we are having we have 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, and then we want to find the average of all these numbers. All that we need to do is that we need to add all of them together and divide them by their total, and that is the total number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all that we need to do is that 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 divided by 6. So this is how we find the average. That is the arithmetic mean. So in Excel has a formula. So once that you use the equal to average, it will calculate all of them. For you. So let's just go back to our Excel, and then here, if you want to look at the average, it's just like you are finding the total, and then when you finish finding the total, then you divide by the number of people. Okay, just like you divide by the number of people to see the average of it. So we have equal to, and then you type average, and then you want to look at the average salary for all workers for this company. So once that you finish this, you close it. So all these have been formatted as dates. So let me also change it to, okay, let me select the whole of this and change it from. So when you open your these things, kindly change it to general, so that you can be able to get your result. So this is how it works. All right. So this is it. So this is the average. This becomes the average salary of workers. So the average salary of all our workers. When you add all these salaries together, you divide by, then we have 14 workers, from 1 to 14. So when we come here and we choose this total salary, so let's come here, let's just put it here and say that we want to divide by, and in this case you can just always pick the cell number, that is cell J2, then you can divide it by 14. Okay, equal to so equal to, once that you add, you do this, you realize that you are getting the same thing as we have over here. Okay, so that is how we use the average. And then also, if you want to, you can use the average if, and then the average ifs. It's just the same as we have as what do you call it, the sum if and the sum ifs. So if you want to add we want to find the average and then give a condition, we can do it. So let's say we have average ifs equal to average, and then we want to select the range. We want to add all these salaries, comma, then we want to specify a particular condition. Also the same thing, let's say we want to add salaries that are they are greater than 45,000. So anything below 45,000, we don't want to find the average. We don't want to add it to our average. So it's the same thing. Then greater than 45,000, and then we close our parentheses. Once we hit this, gives us a new average. And in this case, the salaries that are below 45,000 are not included, which means that this 40,000 is not included. Even the 45 over here, 45,000 here is not included. 37 is not included. 42 is not included. 42 is not. 38, 39, 44, they are all not included. It's only salaries that are above 45,000 that are included. The same thing when you come to the average ifs. With the average ifs too, it uses a similar manner. Just a similar manner. We are going by a similar manner, and in this case, we are giving a condition just as we did for the sum ifs. So the average ifs too, we have a similar way of approaching it, and we give multiple conditions. So here, these are our range, that is the average range, and then the criteria range. And then here we want to select those with male. We want to look at the gender, and then once you pick the gender, we give comma, and then what do we want? We want those that are male or female. Okay, so we open our quotes, and then we say male. Okay, let me use female. Maybe I've been using male too much, so that it won't be biased. Okay, so we have female. Then we give another condition. Okay, and the next condition, we have a criteria range 2, and the criteria range 2 is the second condition. Okay, and with that one, let's say we want to choose the age, and here we are looking at those that are having, let's say they have age less than, let's say they have age less than 28. So we are looking at females with age less than 28. Okay, we want to find the average. So here is it. And then if you look at it very well, you realize that most of the female are, all the female over here, I think most of them are less than 20. Okay, you have this one, you have here Catherine, then you have another female, another female, good, and then that is Angela. Okay, so we have only 2 female. Okay, we have only 2 female with that are having less than 28 years. And when you look at them, this is their salary. The first one is having 38,000. The second one is 47,000. So it's just like adding the 2 of them together and dividing it by 2. So that is how we use the average ifs. Now, the same thing, we move on to the count ifs, the count and the count ifs. So here, the count function counts numerical values in a range. It counts numerical functions, so a value, sorry. So if you want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, instead of us counting all of them together, we can just use the count function to just count at once. For example, once you are analyzing the data, and then you can have thousands of rows, and you can't count them. You can't say you are counting everything one by one. So the best way is that sometimes once you know the count functions, you can be able to easily count from top to down, and then you know how to all of them together. So that is one way of using the count function. Okay, and let's look at them. It's very good knowing that it's a quick way of determining the size of a list of numbers. Okay, a list of, when you have a list of numbers or a list of people, it's a quick way of knowing them, calculating the number over the size instead of counting it one by one. So let's just say that equal to, and then we want to count. Okay, now let me say this. I've been using caps throughout. It doesn't mean that when you use the small letters it won't work. It will definitely work. It's nothing. So let me change this one and use small letters. Okay, count. So you realize that it still works. It doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you use caps or small letters. So it will work. So this is it. So let me just count this. No, I formatted all these things unknowingly as date function. So pardon me, just change them to general when you are doing to know everything. Okay, so you will see it has given me 14, which means that, and you can see here, from here 1 up to 14, even the ID is showing it that we have ID 001 up to 014. So which means that we have 14 workers here. So that is how the count function works. With the count A functions counts non-empty cells. It counts non-empty cells. So let's try and then use that one and see what happens. Let's say count equal to count A. Okay, and then let's try to count from here to this and then close it. So it's also giving us 14. Okay, and it's correct. There is no empty cells here. There is no empty cells in this particular one. So it's giving us that it is 14. Okay, now let's create a dummy cell in between. Let's just create, okay, over here. Let's do something. Let's check the count function once again. And in this case, let's increase it to 17 and see what happens. So it's also giving us up to only 14 because the 2 cells or the 2 cells that we have added, or it's an empty, it's not containing anything. Okay, And when you come to the count A function, the count A function also work in a similar way. Okay, but in this case, if there is an empty row, that is null cell, okay, a missing value inside there, the count A won't count it. There are cases, for example, here, if we happen to, let's create empty space with, let's give a space here to, so it's no more empty. Okay, it's no more empty. And then let's come here, the count A functions, and then try to include the empty cells and see what we get. So you see, it's here, the count A functions has included empty cells. It has included empty cells. So if we have, for example, we have a data set where there are some places they were empty, they don't have value inside, and still we don't want to omit them because they are part of the data, just that that particular column or that particular cell is not having a representative, is not having a value inside, doesn't mean that it's an empty cell. So if you want to know actually the real number of values there, it means that we have to use a count A, which will count even non-empty cells. It will count everything. That is, when I say non-empty cells, I'm trying to say that non-value, okay, or missing value, okay, it will count all of them together. And here you can see that it has counted them. That is the two. It has counted these two cells, the two empty cells that we've created, the space we created inside, even those space, just space, it has counted them as well. Okay, you can't see, but if I click here like this, you can see where the cursor is, showing that it's not empty, there is something inside, just a space inside. The second one too, if you come here, the second one too, you could see that yes, there's you can see where the cursor is blinking. You can see that there is a space inside. So that is what the count A does. It will count all of them together. But if you want to look at only values, then the count will give us only values. Now let's also look at the count if. The count if functions also work just like the sum if and then the average ifs. They all, you give a condition, they count based on the particular condition. Okay, so we can count, for example, when we have here, let's say that we want to count this area, the gender, we want to count them, and we want to only count males. To know the number, we want to know the number of male over there. So what that we will do over here is that you select all of them, and then you will see that you will give the value, and the value is we are counting the male. It has given us 0. Let's look at something. General. When you say that, count. Oh, sorry. I use count, not count if. Good. So you see, this sometimes how we have to, you always have to be very watchful and then showing some of the things. So that is how it is. So it has counted the male. Okay. All right. So I think it should be okay now. If now I'm sure everybody can see now. So this is it. So this is how we use the count if. Sorry, the count if. Once that you specify, you should specify what do you call it? What you are counting. Here, because we are looking out for only the female, we are looking out for only female, it should be able to give us this. So when you come here and check it ourselves, you should look at it that we have the male are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. So it's true, we have only 9 male. So that is how we use the count if. With the count ifs function, it's also just like the sum ifs and the average ifs. We give multiple conditions. So you give multiple conditions to count them. Okay. So let's look at how you can give them. You can give those conditions. So let's look at them. Let's try and then you say count ifs. Okay. Let me try and then zoom in small. Okay, so let's look at the count if equal to count ifs, and then we want to specify a condition. So we want to look at, also we want to count the gender, and then we want to look at, then we want to give our criteria. So that would be, I want to look at female, and then the second criteria, and with that I want to look at female with salary. So I want to consider the salary, and then give comma, and here I'm looking at, I want to look at those with salary. Okay, I think I made mistake somewhere, so up to June 15. Good. So here I want to look at those with salary greater than 40,000. Okay, those with salary greater than 40,000. And then close it. You can continue giving. If you look at it, as soon as I give comma, it will give me another option whether I should give another condition. And then so with the sum ifs, the average ifs, the count ifs, you can give multiple conditions as you wish. Okay, so that is how they all work. So here, as soon as I hit enter, so it's telling us that there's no female. Okay, there's no female that is having salary. Oh, okay. The greater didn't come, so greater than. Good. So it's now giving us that, it's now telling us that we only have only 3 females, only 3 female workers with salary greater than 40,000. And let's look at the females with salary greater than 40,000. We have the first female over here. Then we also have another female, CEO. Okay, we also have another female here. Good. These 2 female are having salaries less than 40,000, which is 38,000 and 49,000. Okay, so it means that we only have these 3 females: the accountant, the CEO, and then the nurse accountant. They are the only females that are having salary greater than 40,000, and accurately it has given us 3. So this is how we also use the count function. Let's look at the mean and then the max function. The mean and max function, we have the mean functions, that is the minimum function, the maximum functions. They also have their if, and then they have their, what do you call it, the large and then the small. Okay, let's start with the small. Okay, let's see the small. here with the small, what it does is that it returns the let me say that the nth smallest value in a range. Okay, the nth smallest value in a range. It will return the nth smallest value in the range. So let's say that we are having it takes actually two arguments. You specify the range and you specify the number of, that is the nth you want to return. So let's go to a whiteboard and let's see something. When you use the small functions, if we have all these functions, let's assume that I want to use all these functions. So let me clean this. So I have these functions, these numbers. I want to return maybe the 3 small value inside. I want to return 3 small value inside. So if I use the small functions, it means that I'm going to specify all these functions inside, and I will tell the function to also return only 3. Okay, so if I do small and then I pin, and then let's say this is in the range of A1 up to A, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6, A6. If they are up to A6, then it means that I'll give comma, and if I want to return the third smallest value or 3 small value from it, it means that I'm going to give this like this, and it will return the, so the nth smallest value, that is what is going to return, the nth smallest value. And then when you look at the large function 2, the large function 2 also returned the nth largest value. Okay, it also returned the nth largest value. So let's go back and use the small function. You say small. Okay, and then let's specify an array. Okay, so here, and then it's asking us, so let's choose 3. So you could see that it will arrange them in, let's say, ascending order or descending order. So let's use a descending order. So it will first of all arrange all of them and then pick the third one. Now, clearly, when you arrange this from here, you could see that we have, this is not the smallest value, but it's the third smallest value. That is we have 37,000 here, which is clearly the smallest value. Here too, we also have 38,000, the second smallest, and then 39, and it's now returning 39 because you specified 3. So we are saying that the third smallest value. So when you come here, the nth smallest value. So when you come here, the nth smallest value that we are talking about, it will arrange all these in ascending, either ascending or descending order. So descending order, it pick from the bottom. It count from the bottom. So if it arranges, that's what it's going to return for us. So this is how the small and then the large way. If we come to the large, in the case of large, when we pick the third large or the first large, it will return the largest value for us. If you pick 2, it will return the second largest for us. So this is how it works. So that is how it works. So when you come back to here, and then we choose large, when you go to large, and then we pick this array, which is this range, we give comma, and then let's say we are choosing the first one. So we want it to return the largest value, that's the end, the first one we want. It says what? There's a problem with this formula. Oh, very sorry. 2 parentheses. So let me clean one. Good. Now it should work. Good. So it's now telling us this is the largest value. And when you look at the salary very well, you can see that the largest one is this, which is 65,000, the CEO. And there is nothing higher than the 65,000. So the large one, we give a large formula, it's returning the largest value for us. So that's how the large works. Similarly, now let's come back to our mean and then the max. In the case of mean and max, it's just telling us the minimum of all. And then when you come to the maximum, it's also telling us the maximum of all. So when you go to the mean, what is the minimum salary? It's return the smallest number in a set of values. Ignore logical values. So what is the smallest salary over here? Okay, what is, so if we pick this and then we close it, what is the smallest salary? Okay, clearly, as all these are in date functions. I don't know. Good. So kindly note this and then try to format it to a general format. So this is the minimum salary. Okay. Now let's look at something. Let's go back to our small function. And in this case, we want to change it from 3 to 1. We want to look at the smallest salary. And let's see what it gives. It's also giving us. So these are the differences. Okay. If you know a position, or you just want to know the arrangement, maybe the third smallest, the fourth smallest or something, you can use the small, and the same applies to the large. But if you want to just look at the smallest, you just use the mean. If you want to look at the maximum, you just use the max function also. So if I choose the max and then I pick the salary range, you realize that it's going to return the highest salary for me, which is the same thing, because here I choose only one. Okay, that is how the mean and then the max works. Okay, now the mean if and then the max if, they give a condition. Okay, it's available. It gives it's for a custom functions. It's for custom. If you don't have the latest Excel, it won't work for you. It won't work. Okay. Good. So you can see that I don't have it. I only have the mean ifs. Okay. The mean is where I can give a set of conditions. Okay. So here I have only the mean, that is the mini ifs. Okay, the mean ifs. So I can give multiple conditions. And in this one, if you are not having the newest version of Excel, you may not get it. It may not be there, but don't worry. We hardly use it. Okay, so don't worry about this one. If you don't get it, we hardly use it. Okay, but because we are already in Excel, that is why I try to use it here. Okay, so this is it. So let's give a range and then give a condition. Okay, so you have this, and then we want to look at, let's go to the age, the criteria range. So the age, so you have the age, comma, and then what do you want to return? We want to return something like maybe we want to return the salary of where you have the age less than 30, and then you close it. Good. So it's going to return the minimum salary of anyone within that particular age group. Anyone with it will first of all look at all the ages that are greater than 30. All the ages that are greater than 30. and then come and look at their salary and pick the minimum among them. So when you look at this very well, all the age that are greater than 30, we have this one. The salary is greater than that specified amount. We have here the salary is greater than, the salary is greater than. So you look at all of this one, it's returning 37,000, and you can see that the age greater than 30, you have 33 here, and this is the only person with salary, the minimum salary. Sorry. So all the people that are having age greater than 30 are having the one that have the salary less than, or the least salary is what we have here, which is the 30. Okay, so that a 37,000. So it look at it, first of all, look at all the people with age greater than 30, put them aside, and then pick their salaries and take it one by one. Which among you all have the salary less than, or the minimum salary? Which among you have the minimum salary? So if we pick Kofi or all of these people, okay, those having the salary age greater than 30, this one, this, and this. Now you look at them and now go and check their salaries. Which among these people have the minimum salary? Okay, so if you look at all of them and then it's pick the one with the minimum salary. Now let's just go to the same thing. In this case, we are just going to copy the same formula, and then when we come here, if I made a mistake, good. So now let me come here. I want to paste the same thing, but in this case I want to use the max. So here I'm having max, and in this case I want to look at anyone with it, to pick all the people with the people that are having age greater than 30 and remove and choose the one with the highest salary for me. So when you pick all of them, you realize that the CEO is having age 39 and the salary is 65,000. So that is how the min max and then the min ifs and the max ifs also works. Now let's come to the concatenate. The concat function, and this is the test functions, and basically you use it in so many areas. You can use it to add or combine tests together. Okay, so let's begin with the concatenate, and then let's see something. So we have the concatenate equal to So with the concatenate function, it joins tests, okay? It combines two or more tests together. Now let's say that when you come here and you look at this place, you see that we have the first name, then the last name. Okay, they are all separate. What if you want to write them together? Is it possible that we can write all of them together? Yes, we can write it together. So we can combine the two of them together. So I want to put it all of them in the full name in one cell. Okay, so instead of me doing it, and then what I will do is that and then I'll add this one. Good. So I'm trying to add these two together. Just put the two of them in two different cells, but I want them to be in one cell. Okay, let me try it here. The formatting. Okay, so concatenate, and then the new Excel version is putting them in a different what do you call it, different cells. Okay, it's supposed to put all of them together for you. Now the all of them actually do similar things. Okay, so let me use the concat instead of the concatenate, and let's also see how this one also give us what this one will give us. So we have the concat, and then we have this and this. Good. So with the concat function, the concat is putting all of them together for us. Okay, the concat. So the test join also do the same thing. So okay, the test join is doing the same thing for us. The test join. But with the test join, what happened is that you have to specify what you want to put in between. Okay, so let's say that instead of me, you see this one with the concat function, the concat, it put all of them together. It's not, and we don't have a full name like this. We have a full name where there is a space. Okay, but in this case, it's not given out. So with the test joined, you can specify your what you want to put in between. Okay, or you can just, let's say I want to give a so I want to give a space, and then I want to add this. Saying that you have entered too few arguments. Okay, you have to add so many, you have to include so many. Good. So with the test joint it gives us these options that you can have. You see, as soon as you enter the argument, the first one is that how you want the test to be, what you want in between the two tests, what you want in between them. That is what you put first. And then the second one, you want to ignore any space. You just want to ignore any space. For example, if the for example, John has many space in before or after, you want it to ignore it, so it will also ignore it. And then you come and pick the second one as well. So you can add as many as you want. So you realize that you have test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, up to infinity as you want. So now let's change this one, the space in between, and put this over there. Okay, now the second one, the two comments over there, you can decide to leave space, you can decide to put space there. Okay, we just want to ignore any empty cells that is in between them. For example, if you have John in cell 1 and then we have another cell over there, there's nothing there, we want to ignore it. Okay, so here you realize that what I want to be in between them is what I've specified over there, that is the hyphen. Okay, so that is what we do with the test joint as well. With the concatenate function also do the same thing, but here my Excel, this worksheet is giving me, pushing them into two different things. Now let's try and see something with the concat function. One of the ways that we can also use them is we can use it to generate email. Okay, you can use it to generate email. So let's assume that all these people, they don't have email address. Okay, so we want to generate email for all of them. Okay, what we want to do is that we want to generate email for them. So let's give a heading as email, and then here we want to use the concat function. So what we do, equal to concat, and then the first test is this one, that's test 1. And then what we want to do is that test 1, and then we want to put comma there, and then instead of us doing, we can use John Wilson, we can do it together, or we can put something there. So I want to do it this way and put dot there. Okay, and then I'll say test 2, which is the second one. Okay, then I'll do it this way, and I'll add something. So what I'll add is that I will add at gmail.com, and then I'll have at gmail.com. Okay, then I'll close it. So you see, once I did that, I have john.wilson@gmail.com, and then once I double click on this, I'll replicate that for all the rest. I can just drag it down. Sorry. Once I do that, so I now have email generated for all of them. Okay, you can think of this as you are working, and then you have a list of workers or students, and you have to generate email for all of them. Okay, one of the easiest way to do that is using the concat function, so that you can generate email for all of them. In this way, you don't have to type. Just imagine, say you want to generate email for 1,000 people, and then you want to type it one by one. It's going to take a whole lot of time. So by the click of a button, you can be able to generate thousands of emails together. If you don't want to put space in between, or you want to put dots in between all of them, you can just you can just do it this way. Remove the space over there. You don't need to put it there, so that it will just put it together for you. Okay, just as johnwilson@gmail.com, and then generate for all of them. Kirby Williams@gmail.com, Richard Jones@gmail.com, Jelena Brown@gmail.com. So this is how one way we use the concat function, okay, to generate email addresses. That's one way we use to generate email addresses. Okay. Now let's look at the left and right function. The left and right functions, they are used to, for example, if we have a list of people, okay, if you have a list of, let's say we have something like for example, let's say we have a name like, so we have, so this is what we have. Let's say we have this, and then we want to use the left function, or we want to just pick some part of them. Let's assume that all that I want to do is that I want to only pick these names from here up to this place. Okay, I don't want to add the EW. I only want the MATTH. So I don't want the, what do you call it, the EW, just as I use my name, math. So let's assume that that is what I want. And if that is what I want, how do I get it? How do I get it out of the names? Okay. And then if also I also want to pick only this one, how do I also get it? So that's where we use the left and then the right functions. The left and right functions is just used to extract values. Okay, extract text from strings. The left function is used to extract a specific number of characters from the beginning of a text. Okay, so if I want this, then I have to use the left functions to extract from my left to right. Okay, I want to extract from left to right, and I have to give the number of tests that I want to count. Okay, so here you can see that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I want to use the left function to extract it, it means that I'm going to say that, hey, give me from, I will say equal to left. Then I'll say that I'll pick these tails, and I'll say that give me, so this is the test. Then I'll give command. I'll say that give me the from left to right, count up to 5, and then give me that one and leave the rest out. So I'll put 5 there and then close it. The result is going to give me this one. That is M, that is 1, A, 2, T, 3, T, 4, and then H. So this is what I'm looking for. So it's going to generate that for me, showing that it has picked only from left and then to the right. If on the other hand I want it to generate from right to left, then I'll use the right instead of the left, and it's going to pick only, it's going to count from the right side. So it's going to count from here up to wherever I want it to go. So you see that the left function, it counts this way, and then the right function, it counts this way. So that's how it counts. It counts to the right, and then the left counts to the left. So that is how it works. And with the mid functions, just pick the middle. Okay, so that is how it works. So now let's practice it. Let's see how we can use the left, right, and then the mid function. So equal to, and then I will say that I want from left, and then in this case now I want to use you can count this. So I want to count the IDs. Okay, I want to count the IDs, and then I want to choose 3. Okay, and then I'll close it. So you see it counts from this one. You have the ID, which is B001. So when you count B10101, so you have 3 characters. It counts in only 3 characters and giving me. So I can duplicate all of them. I can just click on this, and then it has count all of them like that for me, picking only 3. Similarly, if I go to the right and then I do the same thing for right, in this case I want only one. So let me choose the right function, and then I'll pick this one, and then I'll choose only one. When you do this, it pick only the first one for me. Okay, so you can see that It has calculated it has just picked only the far right. Only the far right. That is the first one because I choose only one. So that's how the left and right function works. Now the mid function returns the character from the middle of a text string, giving a starting point and length. Okay, so here I have to give a starting point in the middle. I have to give a starting point and then give the length I want. Okay, give a length I want. So let's use the mid. Okay, now it's asking us to pick a text. Which one do you want? So let's just say that we choose Wilson and then you give a comma. It's asking us to pick a starting point. Where do you want to pick from? Okay, if we choose that we want to pick from the third one, that's the third one. Okay, we give comma and then it's asking us the number of characters we want. I want only 2 characters. Okay, and then I close. So it's giving me, I have to pick the text I want, where I want to pick the characters from, and then it's also asking for the starting, where I want to start from, and then the number of characters I want. So I want only 2 characters. Now when you pick the Wilson, okay, now let's look at the function very well. Okay, so let's go to the whiteboard and see something. Okay, so we have Wilson. Okay, and then the character we are picking is Wilson, and we are saying that the starting point is 3. So start from 3 and then the number of characters. The number of characters we want only 2. Good. Now it's going to actually look at the start. It will count to the 3rd character and then start counting from there and give us only 2 characters we want, because that is, we are only interested in only 2 characters. So this is what it's going to do. It will look at the Wilson. Okay, it will give us the Wilson and then count for and pick and give us, where is the 3rd one? Where do you want to start from? When you look at this side, 1, 2, 3, this is the 3rd one. The L is the 3rd one. Okay, and we are now saying that we want only 2 characters. So it will start from there and then count and give us 2 characters. So when you look at it very well, it's starting from there to count to give us only 2 characters. So this is how it counts it. It starts from there. So this becomes 1 and then the next one becomes 2. Let me write it big for you to see something. You have Wilson and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we are saying that you should start from number 3, which is the L. Okay, and count to give us only 2 characters. So the number 3 is 2, the number 3 is 1, and then number 4 becomes 2. So it gives us only LX. So that's how the mid function also works. We give it a starting point where in the middle, anywhere we want it to start from. It just pick it from anywhere that we want it to start from, and then count it to wherever we are interested in. Okay, so that is how the mid function also works. Okay, if you click on this, it's going to duplicate to give us all of them. The next function we want to look at is the length function, and the length functions is actually used to count. We use it to count the number of characters that we want. Okay, it's used to count the number of characters. For example, how many characters makes up John, okay, or Kelvin or Richard? So it's equal to, then use the length, and then we pick John, okay, and then you close it. It's just only one parameter, and then you click on OK. The whole of this cell is is formatted as, what do you call it? It's formatted as date. So let's change it back to good. So it's telling us that John is made up of only 3 characters and 4 characters. That is JOHN, and it makes absolutely sense. When you look at it, it makes sense. When you replicate all of them, or if you just click on this and drag through down here, you could see that it's counting all of them. So here, this is very good when you want to know the length of any particular thing. You want to count the characters in a string. Okay, you want to count the characters in the strings. Yes, so you can just use the length to know the characters there, and then you will just work and go. Now let's look at the find and then replace and substitute. These functions are good for search and replacing tests. Okay, it's very good that when you know this, you can be able to use it to in your data cleaning techniques. You can use it a lot. For example, there may be certain things that you want to replace. Maybe one spelling mistake that you want to replace. Since you may not know it, you can just use the find functions, and then you will be able to search for it, the search functions. And then you can also use the replace functions to replace, or use the substitute function to just make a change. Okay, so it's just very simple. So let's look at something. Find, and then we specified the test. Which test do we want to find? Okay, then we specify the test, and then we also look at the within test that we want to specify, or what we want to do. Okay, so that is how we use the find function. So we want to find this particular test, and then within which test, where do we want to find it? Where do we want to find it? Now, if whatever I choose here, this test, this data set is small, so whatever I choose here, it will just give me an error, because I can't see, John cannot be located anywhere again. For example, if I choose the whole of this one, and close it, it can't be located there. John cannot be located there, so it will absolutely give me error. So it can't be located there. You don't have John there. But that is how we use it. We know the test, and then but let's try something else. Let's look at find, and then instead of the test that we want to look at, let's say that I want to look at JO. Let's say JO and see, look at something, and then within tests. Okay. It will still give me some places. It's going to give me error. Yes, all of them error. You can't locate that from anywhere. You can't locate that from anywhere. But even if I put quotes around it, it will still give me error. It's only the first one that is going to give me, because that is the only place that you can find a JO. And changing it to this, so you can see that it's saying that 1. Okay, it's locating it somewhere, and that is it. So it's kind of returning yes or no. It's returning something like yes, you can find it somewhere, and the place that we can find it is this. It's only 1. We can locate it just only 1, just only 1 time. But if you have a range of tests, okay, and then we want to search within it, once you use the find, it will point to you the number of JO that we have, or the number of Johns, or the number of this thing that we have among all of them. And then when you want to use the substitute functions, with the substitute functions or the replace function, you want to locate the test that we have. We want to locate the test that we have. That is the old test, and then we use the new test. Okay, so let's say that we have names. We have names, and then there are some we want to change them. So we have some things like we have John, Jones, Kelvin. Okay, and then there are many, but we want to make a substitution. We want to substitute one of the names. Okay, instead of John, we want to put Matt there. The test is large. We have a large test, and we cannot go searching one by one, searching all of them, trying to locate where we can find John and then retype Matt there. So all that we need to do is that we just need to find and replace, or we just use substitute. And in the substitute functions, all that we try to do is that we locate the range that we have the test in. So let's say the range become a box. We locate them. So you have the range, and then the range becomes a box. That is the box that where we are looking at. And then we specify the old test. We put quotes there. The old test is John. We are looking for John, comma. And then the new test, sorry, we have to close the quote before comma. And then the new test is Matt. So we open quotes, and then we also type Matt. Then you close the quotes, and then you close the bracket. So what it's going to do over here is that what is happening over here is that it's going to search the whole range over here. It's going to search all of them through one by one. And then after searching all of them, it's searching to locate John. As soon as it's find where John is, it will clear John away and put Matt there and continue searching. So wherever it finds Johns, it put Matt there. Wherever it finds Johns, it put Matt there. This is very good when you are doing a data cleaning, where you cannot go through one by one to locate where a particular test is, and then you remove it and come and put something there again. But you can't go back one by one. You can just do all of them once and for all. Something as if you are doing that is automation. Okay, so that is good. So let's just go back and look at something. Let's look at something over here. Here we want to do a substitution over here. So we say that wherever you find John, just replace it with Matt. Okay, just go and search, and wherever you see John, just replace it with Matt. Okay, and so just replace the first one. The rest is going to give us an error because John is not located in the rest. So let's go substitute. Okay, substitute, and then the range, the test that we want to replace. Okay, so we are looking at where do you want to, that is the old test, the test, and then the new test, where do you want to replace. Okay, so we just go here. Let me select the whole range. Good. Okay, and then I've selected the range or the group of tests where I want to locate my John, and then I'll type John because I'm actually looking to replace John. So put it in quotes, comma, and then my new test. My new test is I want to change John to Matt. Okay, close it and then close the bracket. Then hit. Okay, so you see that it's giving me, it's located, there is no John anywhere again. The only place that we have John is where it has changed this one to. It has now replaced it to this. If by chance we have another John here, let's say instead of Jude we have John here. Okay, because already I've already done it. It will automatically change it also to Matt. Okay, and here too you can see that it's now finding that yes, there is something here. So that is how it is. The rest over here shows that what here in the find sections, the JO is not located in among them. So But in the case of the substitute, it doesn't give error when it didn't find it. It just returns the normal one because it's just iterating. Go through one by one and then look for John for me. When you see John, change John to Matt. The same thing, and then continue the journey and do the same thing till you are done. So that is how the substitute went. It's the same as the replace to also do a similar thing. Okay. So let's look at the trim function. With the trim functions, now we have been using these data sets for throughout, and you could see that this one has been messed up. Here you can see that we have some spaces in between, some spaces before basa, like it's not even looking nice. The whole of the data sets not nice. The spacings not good. The spacings are not good. Operation coordinator, look at the kind of spacing between the project, the receptionist. Look at, you have space before. So the trim work in such a way that as soon as you trim it, it remove all spaces. It clear all spaces. It doesn't matter where the space is located. In between, before, after, it clears all of them nicely. It's a very smart way of cleaning data, removing empty spaces. So once you use the equal to trim, so you look at the equal to trim, and then first of all, let's clean this one. Okay, let's just do only the first one, and then you see something. So it puts John back to where it's supposed to be. You can see as soon as here I choose the whole of this, you can see that it has rearranged it nicely, where you can now see that the spaces before have been removed. From Martha, the spaces before the name, it has been removed. Samuel, the spaces before Jude, the spaces before have been removed. Richard, the same thing. So the same thing applies to when you the last name too. I can trim it. You can use the trim just to remove all of them over there. So let me just do all of them at once and then close the range. So it has cleared all of them, making it nicely. And then let me come to the job title so that you can clean that one too. So this is all data cleaning techniques that you use to clean your data, remove spaces, empty spaces, and make it clean. So the spaces in between the operation coordinator has been removed, and then it's looking neat. So this is how we use the trim to just clean your data, remove empty spaces away. Now, we now have if and then the ifs. The if and then the ifs, they are used to specify conditions. Should you want to do any conditions? Okay, if you have conditions, you want to specify any conditions in a data set, you can just use it. Just as the way we use the sum and then the sum ifs, you could just use the same thing. So let's look at one way we can do them. So let's begin by if equal to if. Good. So you give a logical test. Okay. So as soon as you say that, they say that the if check whether a condition is met and returned one value if true and another if false. So it will check if a condition that we have given is true and returned the value if it is true, and then it will also return false the other value if it is false. Okay. So let's look at the if. So we want to give a particular conditions. Okay. So we want to ask a particular logical statement to know whether okay. So let's say that we want to give bonuses to the our workers, and then we want to only focus on only females. So what do we want to do? We want to locate these particular females and give to them. So you can select the female, and then it should give a value if it is true. Otherwise it should give the false one. Okay, so if it's here our particular conditions, okay, let's put that one in the if else statement. Here let's look at the salary. Rather, let me choose the salary. It's a logical test. Okay, so we want to make it like we are giving they want to give a bonus, and then the bonus we are saying that if the salary, that particular person has a salary greater than 50,000, it means that that person is a top management, is part of the top management team. So we want to give a bonus of, let's say, 1,000 for Christmas. Okay, a bonus of 1,000 as a Christmas gift. Otherwise, just zero, nothing. Okay, if the person is not having, so here the if, we are saying that we are giving a logical statement, and we are saying that if the salary of our workers is greater than what do you call it, 50,000, give a bonus of 1,000. Otherwise it's zero. So as soon as we hit enter, it's giving us, so let's change this to, it's actually going to give us 0 for the first one because the salary is less than the specified amount. Okay, but when you hit and this and change it, you realize that it's giving us 1,000 for those that are having salary greater than 50,000 for all of them. Okay, that is what it's giving to us. And then it's those that are having below the 50,000, it's giving us 000. So it used to test a logical statement and then distribute accordingly. The ifs also is a function that is used to check multiple conditions and return value corresponding to the first true conditions. Okay, so it's going to test all these conditions and check which of them is actually going to return a particular conditions, and then returned what they are looking for. So we test for multiple conditions. Then we returned the values according if it is true. Okay, so let's just check the ifs out. So the ifs, so it says that check whether one or more conditions are met and returned a value corresponding to the first true condition. So it checks multiple conditions and see if they are true. Then it will return a value that corresponds to the first true condition. Okay, so that's how it takes a set of conditions and values as arguments, and then it will return the value of the first condition that is true. If no conditions among them, if no conditions are true, it returns an error. So it makes sure that all the conditions are true. Now we can use this. Suppose we have a list of scores of students, and then we want to assign grades based on the scores. Okay, So we can use the if statement. So we can say that if student A is equal to the marks is 80, then assign grade A. If student B, or if the student is having grade below 80, assign B, like that. Okay, so we can specify that till we end, and then it will give us whatever we want according to how they are correct. Once they are correct, it will assign them to us. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's say that we want to specify some conditions. For example, we want to look at the salaries. Let's say that we are looking at the salaries, and then we want to see if the salary is this. It's a multiple. If we choose all these ones, the list, and then it is not among them, it will give us an error. It will return an error. So let's say we want to use the ages. Okay, so we want to use their age, and then the first one is the logical statement. This is the age that we select the age. Okay, and then we select the age. If the first one is that the first one we want to specify is, we want to say that if it is greater than, if the age over there is greater than something like, let me say if it is greater than 50, then it should give me a reason. It should say that the person is old or young. Good. So this is a very good. So greater than 30. Okay, then I will say that it should tell me that the person is old. Okay, and then the next one, else if the person is less than 30, if that person is less than 30, you should tell me that the person is young. Okay, so we can give it multiple. You can give it out till that you are done. But here I just want to categorize the workers into old and young. So let me just close it, and then say too few arguments. So I see. Okay, it seems I have not even finished the first. So it says that okay. So here I have to select this once again. And then good. Okay, I'm encountering an error. It says that if this is greater than 30, old, else good. All right, so this is it. This is that this side is giving me an error. I want to understand what is happening here. All right, so we are having that, we are saying that if the age is greater than 30, it should give us, if it is greater than 30, it should tell us that the person is old. And if it is less than 30, it should give us the person is young. The reason why this place you have error is that we didn't specify that for 30. We didn't specify that for 30. So if we have made this one greater or equal to 30, for example, greater or equal to 30, that place should be able to accommodate old. Greater or equal to, it should accommodate old. But because we make it simple, old, we just make it greater than 30. That's why we had that error over there. So at any point in time that we say that greater or equal to, it will accommodate that. So that this is one way we can use the if statement, and it's also a way to do so many other ways. Then we will want to look at is the transpose. The transpose function is very useful when you want to just transpose a row to a column without wasting a lot of time. You just want to transpose it from row to column straightforward. Okay, so what we can do over here is that we can just transpose the whole column. Let's assume that instead of we having these two columns, instead of us having this way, having it this way, in this column, in this way, we can just transpose it otherwise. So we can use the transpose like this, using the transpose, and then we select the whole of the array, that is the two cell together, and then you can just see, you can just select only one, and then it will transpose it this way. So in this case, you can see that each of the workers are in different cell with their salary below them. So this is how we can. So we can actually transpose the whole cell over here, the whole thing over here. So let me just undo this, and then try to put a transpose over here, and transpose the whole of this work together. So what I will do is that I will say transpose, equal to transpose, and then including the title, I'll select everything here, and then I want to transpose everything. Good. So you can now see how it has been transposed. So this is our data. Our data has been transposed this way. So this is how the transpose work. If you don't like it how it is, you can just transpose from column to row or row to column. That is how the transpose works. So you can now see that the staff ID is at the top, and then the first name is being vertically horizontal. It has been arranged horizontally. Everything, the table has been arranged horizontally. Okay. On at first, this is how it is. You can see it vertically like this, but now this is how it has been arranged. Okay, so that's how the transpose work. Now let's look at the date function. Here it's just we want to transfer. We can just make a particular date test. Okay, we change date to test. Now if you look at this is in what do you call it, date function. This is a date function. It's a date format. So I can change it to test if I want to. In a way, I want to convert this to test. This is how we just use it. I think I've even written the formula here. So what I will do is equal to test, and then where is it located? It's located here, comma. The format. What is the format of the date? You can see that the format of the date over here. Now we have so many formats of tests. So we have the DD MM y. That is day, month, year. Okay. We also have the y, m, d. So year, month, day. So like we have so many formats. Okay. So when you are doing this, you have to know the format that we are using. Here we are using the day, month, year. Okay. So what you do is that you just put the format there, and the format is dd, then then backslash y, and then you close your quotes and then parentheses, then hit enter. Now I've changed the date from date to test. You can see even that instead of going far to right, it's even starting moving to the left rather. And if I check the format, you can see that it's a date function. It has now changed. It's actually a date function, but it's not. It's a date, but it's not a date over here. It's a test. It has been converted to test, though it's over here as date, but it's not date. It's test. So that is how it is. That's how you use a test to date or date to test. The next one is the lower functions, the upper function, and the proper function. Okay. Now, the proper functions. Let's look at the lower functions. We want to convert. If you want to, that is, if you want to change all text to lower cases. Okay. And the upper function, if you want to change all text to upper functions, and then the proper function is the proper noun. When you want to make it that's how we use the proper. The first letter as a capital, and then the rest as the smaller letters. So let's just say that we want to make all text to lower. Okay. So lower, and then the first one, John. So that one is already in lower. So let's see what happens. You can see that everything has been, even here root is capital letters, everything, but then it's now in small letters. So that's how we use the lower. And in the case of upper, it's just the opposite. It's just the opposite of that. The opposite of lower. So in this case, it turns everything to uppercase. In the case of proper, it writes down very well. Just note that what we have over here, and you see that we have proper. Okay, so you have the cell B2, and then you can see that it clearly changed the small letter starting with, and even those with small letters starting with small letters, change them to proper, that is capital to small. You can see the Henry is capital throughout, but it's now only the H is capital. So that's how we use the proper. The next one, you have the unique. The unique function returns a list of unique values from a range. It returns the unique values. It actually removes duplicates and return only values that are unique. Okay. For example, it's go through the range that we have selected and see if there is any duplicate repetition. It doesn't repeat them. It doesn't display them again. It only display those values that are unique. Okay, those values that are unique. Unfortunately, this cell, this data is having unique data throughout. We don't have duplicates. But let's assume that we have another. If we have to have many cells with, we don't have any duplicate. The data is not enough for us to have a duplicate something. But let's say that, let me see if I can duplicate these cells. Or simply, let me just type another Judy here. Okay. And then let's use the unique and see something. Equal to have the unique yeah, it still return the same thing because they are all unique in their cells. So that, but if they are to have a duplicate and a duplicate somewhere, it will definitely return only those values that are unique. You can see that when you come to this cell, we have only we don't have a duplicate actually over here. So that is how the okay. So we have the days and then the network days. So the days, this is how the days work. The day actually calculates from a start date, calculate the number of days between two dates that you specify, the start date and then the end date. So it takes the, for example, if we take this worker, this is the start date and then the end date of the employee. So what the day function do is that it will calculate the days from the end date over here to the start date to calculate the number of days inside and display the number of days. Once the network days, the network days remove weekends and holidays from it, and even give you optional holidays. Should you have any optional holiday that you want to or you want to remove, it will give you the opportunity to either add or remove. So that's how the network days does. So let's say that we want to know the number of days from the start date here to this place and know that the number of days that, let's assume that this particular employer has been to work even on weekends, holidays and all of that. So what are we going to do over here is that we will say that equal to days, and then we specify the end date. With the day function, it picks the argument from the end date. So this is what we have, and then it says that it's not asking us for start date. Then this, as soon as you close and hit enter, it's going to calculate the number of dates, the number of days that this particular employee has been to work. So here is it. And similarly, the opposite of the days, in the network days, it remove weekends and holidays. So let's just practice and see. Let's see what we can see. So we have equal to network days. We have the equal to network days, and it's asking us for the start date. Okay, with this one, the network days actually asks for the start date and then the end date. It asks the start date first and then the end date. Unlike the days function, the days function takes the end date first before the start date. But with the network days, it takes the start date first and then the end date, and give us option whether we have a specific holiday, maybe throughout the week. With this one, it includes recognized holidays. That is a mandatory holidays that we know that the calendar includes. It includes it without the holiday that you know. But if by chance you want to include another holidays, you want to remove another holidays that you have given, that is a personal holidays, that is where you have the optional holiday that you have to add. Okay, so let's pick the start date. This is the start date and then comma the end date. Okay, once we close it, you should be able to see that the number of days. You can see that this one has reduced drastically compared to this one. This one calculates including holidays and weekends, But this one, there's no weekends. There's no weekends. There's no holiday. It's only weekdays. That is the weekdays. It doesn't include weekends. That is how the network days function work. Okay, you can clearly see the difference between all of them. Okay, so that is how this one also works. I want us to look at the last function, which is also one of the important functions that we normally use, that you will always encounter as a data analyst. And then we will look at data cleaning process. Once we are done with the data cleaning process, then we close for today. So the last function that we want to look at is the X and V lookups. That is the X lookups and then the V lookups. These two functions are very useful when you are doing analysis, or when you want to do analysis. The X lookups is they are just the same thing, but one is a newer version of the other. Okay, so that is the X lookup. The X lookup is a newer function, newer version of the V lookups. Okay, it's a newer version of the V lookups. Okay, and it's used to perform more advanced search and lookups. That is, if you are searching for something, it's just you can use it to perform searches. Okay, it takes parameters just to help you perform search. Okay, so let's say that we want to let's suppose we have a table with a list of products and their corresponding prices. Okay, and then we want to find the price for a specific product. We can use the X lookups function to search for the products and return the price from the same row. Okay, so let's look at it. In our case we have this particular list. Let's assume if you want to, you can search for a particular job title. Okay, you can search for a particular job title and then return one particular the salary. Okay, let's say that we want to return a salary of a particular job. So we can just use the X lookups to search for the job title and then return the salary as well. Okay, so that is how we do the search. So let me just go straight to the point. X lookups. Good. X lookup. So you see that the X lookup, the lookup value. What are we looking up? What are we searching for? And then what do we want to return? And if not found, what else? If found, what again? So you can see that we have the lookup value, we have the lookup array, return array, if not found, match mode, and then search mode. Okay, now let me take time and then explain them one by one. The lookup value is the value that we want to search, or is the value we are looking at, or we are searching. Is the value that we are searching for. And then it can be a cell reference or a value entered in quotation marks. Okay, that is, we quote it. So it can be like what we are searching for. We are searching for a data analyst. So we can just put the data analyst in quotes, or we can choose a whole range. That's okay, go and search the values there for us. And then the lookup array, it's the range or cell or array where we want to search for the lookup value. Okay, so specifically, first one, the lookup value, data analyst. And then the second one, where do you want to search for that value? If we are searching it then we specify where we are searching for that value. the area that we are searching for, or our search area. And then the return array. The return array, this is the range, that is the range that we want to look at to return particular something. What you want to return, where can we find that? Where we can find that, that is what we are talking about. And then the match mode. This is an optional argument. The match mode, you can see that it's an optional argument, and if not found to is an optional argument. That's why they are always in a square bracket. Anytime you are using a function and then one particular argument is in the square bracket, it shows that that particular one is an optional argument. It's not mandatory, it's just an optional argument. So that is what it means. So the match mode is an optional argument that specifies the match mode, whether it should look at what it should look at for. Okay, it actually has like either are you looking for exact match? Are we looking for the same thing? That it should be return the same thing. If it doesn't return exactly what we are looking for, if we don't get exactly what we are looking for, then it will give us an error. So that is how it is. That is the exact mode. Then we also have similar mode. Are we looking for similar? If not exact, then something similar. This mode will return the closest value. It will return like something very close to what we are looking at, what we are looking for. Okay. With the exact one, if we don't get it, if it doesn't get what we are searching for, with a straightforward error. But with the the similar mode, or the next exact, it returned something like similar. Something just similar. If it doesn't get the exact, it returns similar. So that is how it works. Okay. So let's look at this. Let's say that we are looking for data analyst. So you say data and then analyst. Data analyst. We close it, and then where are we looking at? We are looking at this area, and then we close it, we choose that. And then what do you want to return? Return array. So we want to return the salary, okay, of a data analyst. That's what we are looking at for. Okay. And then if not found, what do you want to choose? What do you want? Here we can just close it because we are done. You can just choose this one and close it, and then return something. So it will definitely return if whether found or not. So here general. Okay, so it's returning salary. It's returning salary. Sorry. So it's only this. It has found that the data analyst salary, and then when you look at the data analyst, this is the data analyst. Okay, and it's giving us the salary, and that's the salary. Okay, so we've been able to locate the exact thing, the same thing, and it's only one. You can't, if you duplicate, it's just going to give you error. Because it will just go through again, and then the rest are all errors, and it's just only one, locate for only one. So we use it to locate something, and then it has been able to search for this one for us, where we can find the salary of data analyst. If you are to have thousands of rows and cells and you are searching for it, you can't locate them. It will be very difficult to be scrolling to locate where you can find the salary of a data analyst. So when you use this method, it will easily pop up and just give you the salary of a data analyst that you are looking for among all the other top workers. So this is how we use the X lookups. The VLOOKUPs is a similar way. We use the VLOOKUPs in the same way, but it's just an old version. It's just the old version of the XLOOKUPs. Okay, the VLOOKUP is just an old version of the XLOOKUP function that allows you to search for a specific value in the first column. So just as the way the same thing, nothing, just as the same way we use the what do you call it, the XLOOKUPs. Okay, but it just have different arguments, slight change. It doesn't really have much changes, but it's the same. So you see that look for a value in the leftmost column of a table and then return a value in the same row from a column you specify. By default, the table must be sorted in an ascending order. Okay, in this case, we are trying to locate the value from a table. Okay, so the VLOOKUPs, it's actually work in a table. This our data set is not a table, so we can't really use. But then let's just try it. Let's say we want to look out for what do you call it? If we have, let's say suppose we have a table with a list of employees and their corresponding salaries, and we want to find the salary for a specific employer. We can use this VLOOKUP to search for that, just as the way we did for this one. Okay, so let's look at something. Let's say we want to look out for a particular worker. So I want to search for Henry. I want to see the salary of Henry. Okay, so let me close it, and then this way, and choose the table array. This we don't, this is not a table, but I know definitely it will give me error. So an array, and then what am I looking at? So where do I want to get my column index? Because I've not made a table out of this, it will be a bit deep, but then let me just try. This is the salary, so it's in the supposed to be in the 7th column. Good. I think it's not wrong after all, but it has given me a wrong answer. So it has given me the wrong answer. My index is okay. So let me just format this table too. Let me just make this a table. Okay, so now I have a table. So VLOOKUP. So this time let me just go by John. Okay, so and then table array. this is also giving me an error. Okay, so I don't know why this is giving me error. So I'm looking out for John, comma, and then I'm looking out to this place. I want to look out for the column index number. So it's, where's the salary? The salary is here, and that's supposed to be 7. This shouldn't give me an error. Okay, let me just specify once I see. I don't want the exact match. It's giving me. All right. So the VLOOKUPs is just the opposite of the XLOOKUPs, but it's just unfortunate. It's giving me an error. I don't know why, but okay. So I think the mistake is coming from me, and then this is what you are looking at. No, 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 no. Okay. So what if you have the newer version? Just stick to the XLOOKUPs. I don't know, the VLOOKUPs is giving me error on this version of Excel, but it should work. That is the parameter. When you just need to specify the area, that is the what you are looking for, that is your range, the lookup value, what you are looking for, and then the table array, and then the column index number. And you also, if you want to specify the range lookup, it's an optional parameter that specifies whether the lookup function should perform an approximate match or an exact match. So the lookup range or the range lookup is just an optional parameter. But the three most important arguments are the lookup value, the table array, and the column index. And those are the things that I've specified. But I think it's giving me an error. That is equal to v lookup, and then the lookup array, what you are looking at for, lookup value, which let's say you are looking at for John, and that you just specify it in quotes, comma, then you specify the table array, or the, what do you call it, the range. And if you don't know, you can also click this. You can, when you highlight this way, you can click on it to open help panel where you can read about it. So it's actually, we are looking at for the table array. It's for, what do you call it, it's a table or range of cells that you want to search in. Okay, and where we want to search for John is this place. John is located somewhere. You want to search for John here. Okay, so, and then once you pick the column index number. Okay, the column index number is the column number in the table, or in the table that you want to return a value from. For example, because we want to return the salary, in which column can we find the salary, in which column? And then when you count, if it is the third column, then the index become 3. If it is the fourth column, then the index become 4. If it is the first column, then the index become 1. Okay, so that is how it is. And once you do that, you will be able to get that. When, for example, if the column is 1, you just specify 1. If the column is 2, you specify 2. That is how the VLOOKUPs work. But because the VLOOKUPs is we have a newer version, which the new Excel is using, I think it's giving me error, and I don't understand why it's giving me error. So with this, if we are to have a table where if this is supposed to be a table, then we can see that the salary is in this particular column, and which we can just locate this column as our next the column index number, and that will give us our salary for John. Okay, so that brings us to the end for functions. Okay, that brings us to the end for functions. We have been able to cover all the functions that you need as a data analyst. The next that we need to do is we want to quickly look at a data cleaning process, how we can clean data. Okay, we want to look at data cleaning techniques. We have a messy data that we want to clean. So we would, in this one, we are going to open a new Excel sheet and then look at the cleaning process. Okay, and then once we are done with the cleaning process, then tomorrow we will look at how we can explore the data and do other techniques. With this, you can open the data, the folder. You will see another folder called we have data set, and in that data set we have a new Excel folder. We have a new Excel worksheet which is on clean data, and then let's have a cleaning over. Let's do a short cleaning. So you have uncleaned data. All right, so this is the data set that we want to do a quick data cleaning. We want to do data cleaning, clean this data. Then we look at how all the techniques involved in data cleaning, how we can remove missing numbers, how we can make a data very neat and ready for analysis. Now, what is data cleaning? Data cleaning is simple, the process of removing unwanted data and preparing your data for analysis. When you have a messy data, we make it clean, we remove the unwanted part of it, those things that we will not need, and make the data ready for analysis. For example, we remove all missing values, we remove unwanted data that we want. If there is a missing value, that if there is a name change, we need to change. If there is how we can make it clean, so that we won't have much difficulties when we are doing our analysis. If you have a lot of missing value, if you have a lot of unarranged data, it will be very difficult for you to do your analysis. For example, and in the process of data cleaning, you have to check the data and make sure that you validate it and make sure that it's ready for use. You have to make sure you have your dates are correctly specified in the right formats. Then you also have all missing value taken care of, and those data that you don't need, if possible, you remove them. One thing that it's very important is that when you are doing a data cleaning process, anytime you take a data project, make sure you have a copy of the data set aside before you start doing any cleaning, because in the cleaning process you remove things that you don't want, and you may mistakenly remove something that you will need back, and if that happens, you will lose the data. So anytime you are doing a data project, make sure you have a copy of the original data somewhere before you have a copy. You use a copy as your cleaning, and then clean for your analysis, because the data that you are cleaning, there are certain things that after the cleaning, one part may provide some information for you that you may not know. So when you remove them, you just choose the original data and try to remove certain things. If perchance you delete something, you won't be able to go back again, especially if you cleaned and save. So it's advisable that you save your data. You have a copy of the data as well. Okay, so we have our data open. We have our data set open. So before we even begin cleaning the data, we want to have a 5-minute stretch. A 5-minute stretch before we begin the data cleaning process. So you can stretch yourself for 5 minutes and then we continue. We need to finish as soon as possible. right. Break over. So let's look at the data cleaning process. Quick, and then you'll be done for the day. So the data cleaning process. So once your data set is ready, we need to clean to remove any missing value and then unwanted values that we don't want, any things that we don't want in our analysis, and then to make our data really neat and ready for analysis. Now this is our data set. It's a data set of bike sale, and it's not clean, so we have to make it cleaned and stuff. Now you can see that we have the, let's try to expand it, or let's use, if you want to expand all of them together, you can just use, once you select everything like this, just hit on the Alt, H, O, and I. Once that is Alt plus H plus O plus I, it will just expand everything for you. So you have the Alt, H, O, and I. Then it expand everything off once for you. So you can now see that everything has been expanded very well for us. So from here, if the expanded is not okay, that's the normal, the fit for you. But if you don't want, you want to add more, you can always adjust it to add some other value, because that expansion will just only expand it to fit the value inside. So you can always give small adjustments. Okay, so this is our data set, and then when you look at it, we can see that we have, from the first column, we have the sales order, the date, and then the date has been put into expand for us. We have the day, the month, the year, and then the customer's age. The age group has been given to us. We have the gender, the country, the state, and then the product category. We have the product category, they are all bikes. However, we have subcategory. So the product is bike, all right, but which part of bike is it? So you can see that is the subcategory. We have the mountain bikes. I think throughout we all have mountain bike, but we will get to see whether all of them are the same thing. And then we have product description. The product description is also here. We also have the quantity, and then we have the unit costs, unit price, okay, unit price, and then the profits. But we don't have revenue. So through the data cleaning process, it may be that we can calculate that along, because we have the quantity, the unit price, the profit, we can calculate the revenue. Okay. So let's begin. Now we can see from the data, even from here alone, when by observation, we can also see some empty cells. You can see empty cells inside and stuff. But so to observe this very well, let's format the whole thing. Let's add a filter to everything. Once you select everything, under the home ribbon, just the sort and filter. When you click on it, then you choose filter, sort and filter, then you just click on filter. So you want to only filter the data. So once we hit here, we can come to the months like this, and then we want to filter this one. Let's see here, you can see that everything is in December. But when when you do this and then you look at the month here, you can see that perhaps there is typo mistake somewhere, because we can see December and Dexba. One is not correct. The spelling is not correct. So this is where the data cleaning is very important, so that you correct this. So let's go to another side. The days we have 1, 2, 3. You observe it. Let's observe it very well. You can see that there is blank space. We have blanks, which means that there is an empty somewhere. So let's deselect all of them and only select the blank and see which one, how many of them are like that. When you do that, you can see that yes, there is one of them that has empty day. So you also have to take care of that as well. Okay. Now, when you come to the age group, it's okay. The age group has been specified. You have the adults, the young adults, then the youth. And we also have a blank. So let's also see what the blanks contain. Also 1. So there's one age group not specified. So that one too has to be taken care of. Means that when during our data cleaning process we have to do a lot over here. So let's come to the gender. Customer gender, it's correct. We have male and female. Then we have the states. We have let's take them one by one. British California, England, Hamburg, and then it seems that there's nothing really wrong with this one too. So this is how we do. Take your time, go through one by one and see where there is an error. Once you have looked at most of them and then you see the errors, then you begin to clean them, begin to remove all these errors from them one by one, and then find ways to go by them. Okay. Okay. Sometimes some of the things that you see, you may not need them. So, for example, when it comes to the product description, we may not need it. So maybe eventually we may end up deleting it. Okay. Now, when you come here, you can see that even when you look at it, you can even see that there are blanks. So let's try to look out for the blank. There's one product, the order quantity is not noted. However, the unit cost is there, and then the profit is there. So you also have to find a way, be able to input that also over there, and I think the price can inform us about that. Okay. Now, with that being said, I think it's time for us to begin our data cleaning process. First of all, let's look at this, and all this has been formatted as dates. So it just says an order ID. That's the sale order ID. So this one too may vary, but we won't have any much problem with it because it may not be needed in our analysis. Okay. So let's begin with the cleaning, the data cleaning. Some of the important places that we need to focus in the age group. If you look at it, it doesn't even look nice. So we must end up removing some of the things and then making sure that we fill in the missing values. In all, the data is not all that dirty as it is, so we are fortunate. So the first thing that we want to look at is the age group. So let's just select this. We have to change the whole of this thing to a table. Okay, so let's select this table. So once you select everything, you can always come to the home table and then insert a table. Okay, and just insert a table, make it a table. Or once that you select everything, once you're able to select everything, you just click on Control T to make a table. Control T. Once you make a Control T, then you just choose to make a table. Because I've included filter, that is why it's giving me this. So once you are done, once you know this, go and remove your filter, because the table will also add another one. So just remove the filter and then select everything, Control T to make a table. Yes. The table color, I don't like it, so I'll just come to table format and then change it to a new one that I want. I don't like too deep color like that. Okay, so maybe this is okay for me. Better still, I think. Still, I don't like the table color. Okay, let me use this one. So here, this is what we have here. Over here, we can make changes, adjustments, so that we will be able to remove those brackets over there and make it clean. Okay, so we can always create a new table, a new what do you call it? We can create a new column where we re-input it all together, or better still, you can just edit this one, the whole of this thing over here. Okay. So you can use the find and search or substitute. Okay, you can use the substitute method that we learned earlier to just make our changes. Okay, because for example, when we come here and choose this, you can see we have 3 categories or 4 categories. We have the adults, the young adults, and then we have the youth, and we have blank. So that being said, we can look at the blank, which categories as the blank for, because when you look at, we have adults, the age group for adults is being indicated as 35 to 64. That of the young adult is 25 to 34. So let's look at where the blank for. We can see that the age is 36. The customer age is 36, which means that if it is 36, it will be in adults. Okay, to be in adults. So that is giving us a clue where we can actually do our we can input new we can make changes and adjustments over there. Okay, so that is one way of making those changes. And we can always use the find and replace. Okay, we can always use the find and replace, or the data validation rule, where so if we go to the find and replace, where are we looking at? Okay, where are we looking at? We are looking at an empty space. What do you want to find? This find and replace is just the same as the formula one that we use. Okay, so what do you want to replace with? Okay, we want to replace with young adults or adult. So here, the first thing I want to do, I want to use a find and replace. And what I want to do is that wherever I see add dots into bracket, add dots into bracket 35 to 64. I just need to replace by add dots. I don't want add dots 65. So I just want to replace by this. And then all that I will do is that I want to so I've cleaned that part. And then the next one I want to do is that young adult. I also want to replace any blank with adult, because I have one blank which I believe that it fall within that particular range. After checking, it fall within that range. So the next I want to do is that now we have to know this. If our analysis, we need categorical data, we need to know these things, then we can do this method. Otherwise, we have to rather remove the character values and rather use the age group, okay, and use the age group rather than the adults and then this thing, but use the age brackets, okay. So there are two ways depending on the analysis that we want, okay. Depending on the analysis that we want, if the age bracket is best for you, then you won't be replacing with the adult and stuff, but then you'll rather be replacing with the age group, okay. So with that being said, I think that will be the best one rather. So because the title is age group, so let's just undo everything, and now let's do find and replace. The find and replace, you can always use what do you call it, you can even use Control F to search for it. So we will have the adults and then 35 to 64 in bracket, and then the age group, okay, the age group, I will do it this way, 35 to 64. Good. And then I also do for that for the empty one. The next one is young adults, 25 to 34. So I just do 25 to 34. Good. And then the next one is youth. Now it says that less than 20, less than 25. Okay, less than 25. So what I want to do right now is that if you look at the data set very well, you realize that we even have 19, we have 24, and you can even count that we have even 17, 19. Okay, I think the list is the 17. So with that being said, I can make the youths like this, less than 25 now, and then I'll replace it with also a group. Okay, I can replace it with saying that, let's say 15 to 24 is less than 25. So, and then replace all. Good. And it has made the data very nice. So this is one way. So you can see we have the age group as 15 to 25, 25 to 34, and then 35 to. So I think here is supposed to be 24. So let me do the find and replace again. I think I've made a mistake here. It's supposed to be 24. But here, because I've already replaced it, I have to specify the new one, because that is what the system knows now. Let me go and change it. Good. And now, if I check, I can see I have 15 to 25, 24, 25 to 34, 35 to 64, and that look really good. So that is one way to replace this particular one, or to fix that. And then let's come to customer gender. That one, you can see that there is no mistake, there is nothing wrong with it. Let's come to the customer age. Is there anything? Do you have blank? We don't have blank, so I think that one too is okay. Now we look at the country. Do you have country? We don't have any problem with it, so we just need to leave it like that. And then the day, we can see clearly from the dates that all of them are there. However, we can find one place where we don't have that particular. So all that we need to do is that let's locate for that. Let's assume that we don't even know where it is. So let's look at the blank, and you can see that it's only one. It's only one, and the day is the 5th day. So this one, there's no need. You just need to enter it, and then that is all, because it's just only one. It's not plenty, so you won't have much. It won't be much of a problem. Okay, it won't be much of a problem. So when you go back again, there's nothing like blank again. All right. So that is it. And we have December. You can see we have the spelling is not good. So that one too, we have to do replace. We have to find and then replace that particular one. But let's first of all let's look at that one alone. Okay. That one too, we can see that it's only one. So perhaps typo mistake. So we just correct it. So you can also see that it's only one. So we are fortunate that the data is already clean. So we don't have much problem removing and cleaning anything. It's just petty mistakes that we are correcting. However, if it is a data that is very messy, we will have to remove some of them. We have to remove a lot of things that we need to remove. Now, in our analysis, for us to be able to do good analysis, sometimes these formattings over here, whether they are okay or not, sometimes you have to look at it. So let's see. These ones have been formatted as customs. Okay, they are just custom. So we can change it to currency. You can change this column to currency ourselves, and we can just do that by going to this apply and then choose currency. Okay, and then because we've chosen currency, I'm using Ghana cedis. Okay, but we can always use a different currency. If you want to use a different currency, just choose this one, accounting format or whatever, and then this one is going to give you accounting currency format. Okay, and accounting is always like this. You can see that the accounting is being given in a different ways. However, if it is not accounting and it's a normal currency, it gives you this format. Okay, so you can always choose your currency, whatever foreign currency that you want. Once you come to the format, if you have more currency, whatever you want, you can specify. So if it is a dollar I want, I just change it here. So dollar, British pounds, you just specify it. Then you choose the dollar. So I'm interested in maybe US dollar, just look out for it. All these are dollar, so this is a US dollar. So you just specify, and then it will change and give you the US dollar. If it is the currency that you are looking for, it's the same process. Just come here, then find more number formats. The one you come here, then you locate your currency that you are looking for. Okay. So that is how we search for it. Once you find the country, the currency of that particular country, then you just choose it. So I'm going back to my currency as Ghana cedis. So it's the first one, and then I choose it, I click OK, and then that is all. So, but if it doesn't look good for you, to me, Ghana cedi is too much. The characters are too much. So the most way I normally use is the dollar, so that it becomes so nice. It's just only one. Okay. However, if you also don't want to specify any, you can always try to just ignore. Okay. And then remove the currency symbol, any of them at all. You can just always remove them. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. And I want to remove the decimal to 0. I don't want decimal. Good. Like this way, so that my work become easy for me. Now, if you check here, you see that there is blank, and then that one too, let's go and locate it. We have only one, so let's select all and see. This one we can't joke with it because it's an order quantity, so you have to look at the unit price. You have to look at the price over there and use it to determine whether it is 0 or not. And if you also look at this side, we cannot say unit cost of 2 bike is 0, which means that we have a lot of work to do here. If the unit cost is 0, how did they get profit? So you realize that here it has to take you have to take your calculations one by one. So these are all the process of data cleaning, and if you don't do it, you realize that your analysis will not be tallying up, and you have a wrong analysis. Your figures will be wrong, and it won't give you cannot use that to give any informed decision. Any decision that you make with that will be a fake decision. It won't help. It will just be a waste of time. Okay, so that is what you must note about this. All right, so now let's just look at this. You can see that the unit cost, depending on each bike, here we are having the mountain 500 black 42 bike. Okay, that is the description. That is what we have here. So let's see the price for one. Let's see if you have another one. If we take our time to look through, whether we will see the same bike, and then we can locate the price for that particular bike or not. So let's just go to the filter and let's uncheck all of them. We are only looking for this one. We are looking for only this one, the mountain 500 black bike. So we are locating all the mountain 500 black bike, and then we look out for them. And when you locate them, you realize that the price for this is it. The price for one is $295, and that is the same thing, which means that this one, the order is only one. So we just input that and then we go. So once we are done, we go back and then check all of them again. So we don't have any missing value again. All values are covered. Okay, and this one doesn't really matter. The description doesn't really matter. We won't use it in our analysis, so we can just ignore it. And then when we come here, the unit cost. Okay, so here we need to check the unit cost, the unit price, and then the profit. So this is what will help us give an informed decisions. And we need to calculate revenue. Okay, we need to calculate the revenue and then the cost price as well. Okay, so we have to calculate the cost price, and we also have to calculate revenue. We already have a profit. Okay, so we need to ask ourselves, how do you calculate cost price? How do you calculate the cost of bike? Okay, and then how do you calculate the revenue? You should have in mind. A unit price is the amount of money charged per individual unit. Okay, charged per individual unit. So the unit price is the amount charged per individual price, and then the unit cost is the expenses associated with the product, each unit of the product. So that becomes the expenses associated with this particular price. But the price is the amount that they sold the thing for. That is the amount that the thing costs, that is being charged. Okay, so if we want to calculate the cost, then we need to look out for which one are we going to use together with the other quantity. Okay, because one of them have to multiply the other quantity for us to get our unit, our cost. Okay, yeah, so that is how it is. So once we are able to establish the unit cost and then the revenue, we can be ready for our analysis. Now, we won't worry ourselves with that because that is not needed. Yeah, what we are interested most is making sure our data is clean, and that is what we have established over here. So you can now see that our data is clean. But because now we have done most of the works now, some of the things we don't need it. For example, we don't need this description. It doesn't even have a title over here. Sorry, I think by chance have this product description is there. Yeah, so I don't need it, so we just delete it. Good, we don't need it. So we are trying to remove certain things that we don't need. And then when you look over here, are we going to use this, the date, the month, the year separately? You can see that all of them are in December actually. So the month doesn't really matter. So the date is not going to affect us. It's only the day that we may need. Okay, and that one too, it will just be detailed. You can see that it's only on a particular day. So for that one, it's okay. You will need it. You can ask that. You can say that on the 10th day of December, what are the products? What are the sales made on the 10th day? What are the sales made on the 11th day? So that one, it's very necessary. However, the year, because it's a throughout year 2021, it won't have any effect. We won't use it for anything. The same applies to December. If we were to be different months, we can't say that we want to use it. But because it is not the same thing, we can't be sure of clearing it away. So the year too, we remove it, we delete it away. So gradually we are making the data very simple. Okay, we are making the data very simple. The country, the state, they are all okay. We can use them in analysis because we can find the year. We can find the country in which we made the country with the most sale, the state with the most sale. We can find that. However, in the country, you can see that there are some messy stuff over there. We have some spaces before and after, and we can locate one here. If we look at the country, you can see we have United States and United States. So you can see two United States. We have United States and United States. What is the difference? That is the question that we need to ask ourselves. They are all over here, but you can see that there's a slight differences between them. So let's just select only one of them and see what are some of the things there. There are plenty of things over there. Let's look at the second one as well. Let's deselect this and select this one also. There is only one data there, but they are all United States. So what is happening? It means that there is a space somewhere that we don't know. There is a space somewhere that we don't know. So instead of, if it were supposed to be something there are plenty, all that we can do is that we won't be able to change it one by one. Okay, so what we can do is that we can insert a new column, insert a new table column. Good. You can insert a new table column, and then here we will use the trim function. Trim. Okay, so you use the trim functions, then we select this. Okay, and then now over here, because it's already a table, it's giving us arts, and then that is how the table works. Okay, so the trim functions has done the work for us. Okay, and now if we use this, you can see that we only have only one United States. Okay, now because we use the formula here, we cannot delete this. As soon as we delete, it's going to affect the whole work. So what we need to do right now is that I'll just copy this and replace it, the heading. Once I replace the heading, what I will do now is that I'll copy this and come and insert it here. And what I will do is that I would paste value, so that when I paste value, the formula will not be there. Now let me show something. This is a formula work. Now let me try to delete this and let's see what will happen. Let me just try to delete and see. You see, it has given us error throughout. The reason being that this is not supposed to. The reason being that where the formula came from has been deleted. So what they need to do right now is that you actually need to get the former data back. Okay, so that is why this method is good. You copy, and then when you come here, you paste value. Just replace it. The operation cannot be completed for one of the following reasons: a selection including cells both inside the table and below it. Yes, I've select more than that. You see, it has selected place outside the table, so it won't work. So what I will do is that for it to work, all that I need to do is that I need to just use Shift Control, and then I'll press the arrow down so that it will select only what is in the table. Shift Control. Once I click the top there, I'll just use Shift Control, and then I'll press the arrow down key. So when I'm done, I'll just copy and then come here again. This one too, I'll do the same selection. Oh, it has given me select everything. So I'll just come and do original pasting. So because now our paste will, I can delete the formula one, because now I can delete this one. It won't have any effect. Then I'll change the country name, or that too there, I'll clear it away. So if I go back and then check, I have only one United States, and then my data has been cleaned very well. Okay, so that is one way that we can actually clean this particular data. Okay. So that is one way that we can do the data, we can clean this data. Okay. And now you can see that our data is neat compared to the first one, how it is from the initial state. You can now see that everything is very neat. Okay. So we can use this for our analysis, depending on what we want to find, then you can use it. If you notice any other thing, you can also clean it. You can also try to remove it. Also, the bikes and then the subcategory, we may not need it. So looking at all of them are mountain bikes, and then the product bikes, there is nothing they give you need. So you can also clear this one out. So you make it as simple as it should be, so that our analysis will be easy and the data will be simple for us to use without much problem. So now this is a simpler way. This is our clean data. It's now ready for us to use for our analysis, and then we can use it for whatever you want to do. All right. So we now have a cleaned and a neat data set. Okay, and that I think this would bring us to the end of day 1. This will bring us to the end of day 1. God willing, tomorrow we will continue, where we will look at a practical analysis, and we will analyze a data set, and then clean it, reclean a data set, analyze it, and develop an interactive dashboard which we can display and at wherever we want to go, add to our portfolio. Okay, that being said, we will end today's class here. Thank you so much for staying along through this long day. It has been a very stressful and a long day, but thank you for staying along the line. 3 good hours, and that you have been with me throughout. Thank you so much, and continue practicing and you will get there. Should you have any question or any problem, you can leave it in the comment sections, or you can always contact me on WhatsApp, or you can chat in the WhatsApp page. Thank you. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification button. And remember, tomorrow we will be having our next section. Bye-bye.